When it comes to the afterlife, I guess there's about three major positions on it. There's one that we go to heaven or hell or purgatory or something like this in the Judeo-Christian model, or in the Abrahamic model, I should say. Then there's the Eastern tradition, which says that we're reincarnated after we die into some sort of creature or another human being or what have you. And then there's the third position, which is the atheistic position that states that nothing at all happens after we die, that we just sort of disappear and it's like not having been born. I don't think that either of those perspectives are correct, since I believe that at the point of death, our brains release a huge dose of dimethyltryptamine, DMT, the so-called spirit molecule, and that we have a series of very potent hallucinations at the point of death. And when you're in a hallucination, right, it can seem like a very long time is passing, and that we go to some kind of different realm, I guess, when we die. And this is corroborated to some extent, to some greater or lesser extent, by the evidence that we have from near-death experiences, what people have reported. What people report at the point of death in near-death experiences is very varied indeed. Loads of people report sort of floating outside of their bodies. Loads of people report going on this kind of spiritual journey and meeting entities. And I think what happens at the point of death when it comes to this dimethyltryptamine business, this trip that we go on, I think it's not encapsulated in the thought of any given religion, and I think the atheistic position on the afterlife is wrong, and I don't think it comes with a sound based in evidence. I don't think this idea that nothing at all happens when we die is correct. Certainly not. I think it's actually undermined by evidence, that position. As for heaven and hell in the Bible and things like this, they're not very fully fleshed out as ideas. Not a hell of a lot of description actually goes into what hell amounts to in the Bible, or Sheol as it's known in the Hebrew texts, I think. And as for reincarnation, that's quite fully fleshed out in things like the Hindu text, the Vedas, and so on, I think it is, where it describes what happens to people when they get reincarnated if they live good lives, get reincarnated as some higher deity or what have you. If you live a bad life, you get reincarnated as a slug or something like this. And that's how the whole Hindu cosmology sort of breaks down. But I don't think anything like that happens. I think that it's a massive DMT trip. And I've taken DMT, well, I've taken ayahuasca. I had a series of ayahuasca experiences in the mountains in Peru when I was 18 years old. And I think something really very much like that probably does happen when we die, since it's widely believed, I think, that DMT is an endogenous compound in the brain, and that the brain floods with DMT when we die. So it seems like we're headed for some great, grand, transformative, transcendent experience of some kind at the point of death. Those are people experience a kind of emerging with the Almighty, the Creator, if you like, or the universe itself, even if we're going at this from a kind of pantheistic angle. And I think this doesn't get talked about nearly enough. I think that it warrants a great deal more scientific exploration and inquiry into what happens at the point of death. And I think, we should reappraise our models of the afterlife in terms of the models we derive from religion and so on, and the models we derive from the anti-religious kind of atheistic coterie of individuals that have sprung up in retaliation to what religions proffer. But they're all wrong. They are all wrong, I think. It doesn't like nothing at all happening when we die. It seems like a great deal happens when we die. And that's evidenced by near-death experiences alone. Like, all those people aren't lying, I don't think. I don't think it's like just the lights go out in people's minds and nothing at all happens, and it's like going to sleep and never waking up. You know, we got this line from Shakespeare in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, and all these sorts of things. We've got to think about this shit. We've got to take this shit seriously. This idea that we go on a massive DMT trip when we die is very exciting. It's a very exciting proposition, I think. Although it'd be horrifying for a lot of people, wouldn't it? And it'd be horrifying for a lot of people who think that drugs shouldn't be legal and all this sort of nonsense. Whereas, you know, you can gain like great exploratory power with these tools, these chemical aids to figuring out our metaphysics, to figuring out who we are, what we want the course of our lives to be, figuring out, possibly gaining in advance some insight into what's going to happen when we die, and so on and so forth. And these things, these very important things that we all think about, that we attach spiritual value to. So yeah, I mean, from a spiritual perspective, if you like, these are very, very important aids to the discovery of what our life's purpose might be, or what's the purpose in our deaths might be, or something. This is what happens when you make up videos on the fly, when you just go for it like I do and just ramble around different points without ever really preparing videos or doing scripts for videos or anything like this. This is the gobbledygook that comes out eventually. But no, I thought I'd just do a video about this morning, because you know, everybody, or loads and loads of people, seem to think that they know what's going to happen when you die. Be they atheists or be they religious people, they're both as bad as each other in my opinion. They're both wrong. Both sides are wrong when it comes to the afterlife. Both atheists are wrong for saying that nothing at all happens when we die. Shut up. Like, well, no, we have near-death experiences, for one thing. We have the very high likelihood that DMT is released in large amounts in our brains when we die. So something clearly happens, doesn't it? We clearly go on some sort of spiritual journey or experience. And then the Christians who say, oh, we go to heaven or hell, depending on whether or not you've been good or naughty in life. And that is also probably bullshit. And the reincarnation model, that is likely bullshit also. Because they haven't discovered DMT in the past. But now we have greater insight into these things, and we can gain greater awareness, and we can take actually the scientific approach to this, which is to dose ourselves with DMT and to report back our findings, and to you know, undertake more investigation into near-death experiences and so on, and figure out the extent to which there is overlap between these experiences and DMT experiences, which, as I understand it, is pretty fucking high. So there's that. And we can actually, start doing science so far as the afterlife is concerned, which is a very important thing, I think, and does allow us to have, you know, insight into that most mysterious of things. You know, what happens when we finally kick the bucket. So we should do that. Thank you for watching, everyone. I love you. Bye bye, and have a nice afterlife.